Again. It's almost. I'd like to thank Brother C. Hurt Bay, our assistant Grand Sheik, also the Grand Governor of the state of New York, from reading from page number 52, Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter number 42, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Weakness, and he started on page number 53 and read from verse 19 and completed the chapter. And I'd like to thank the brother for his thoughts and thank the brother for his comments. I have no further comments. At this time, I'm going to call on our last speaker of the evening. I'm going to call on the Grand Sheik of Moorish Science Temple, number 54, Brother D. Clark Eel. Please give him your undivided attention.
He's the joy of my salvation. Yes, he is. He's the joy of my salvation. Yes, he is. Well, just to know he came for me and from slavery has set me free. He's the joy of my salvation. Yes, he is. Nobles Riley came in this land for the sake of sinful man. And he had hard trials almost every day. He called you and me the same. He brought our flag and our national name. And he's the joy of my salvation. Yes, he is. He's the joy of my salvation. Yes, he is. Well, he's the joy of my salvation. Yes, he is. Just to know he came for me and from slavery has set me free. He's the joy of my salvation. Yes, he is. Islam, Muslims.
Islam.
First I rise and I give praise unto Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And I give honor to Prophet Noble Ali, founder of this Moorish Science Temple of America. I give honor to Brother Marcus Garvey, forerunner to the Prophet. I give honor to our past supreme grand advisors and moderators of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Brother C. Kirkman Bay, Brother F. Nelson Bay, and Brother J. Blakely Bay. I give honor to the past Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Brother R. Lovell, and I give honor to the Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Brother R. Jones Bay. I give honor to his assistant, Brother P. Chase Eel, and I give honor to his official staff. I give honor to all national officials of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I give honor to all state officials of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I give honor to the Grand Governor of the state of New York, Brother C. Hurt Bay. I give honor to all officers of Moorish Science Temple number 54. I give a special honor today, Brother Q. Evans Eel. Let me tell you more something. Allah broke the mold. Broke the mold when he had that more manifest. Let me tell you something about Brother Evans Eel. Brother Evans Eel was loud and proud. Brother Evans Eel was loud and proud. You know, I remember him coming, he transferred his membership from Temple number 21 here in Brooklyn to Temple number 54 in the Bronx. And he was out there with all the Moors. Let me tell you something. You called yourself a Moor, you knew Brother Evans Eel. He didn't have no qualms with taking you to the mat about anything having to do with Prophet Noble Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America. In so doing, he studied a lot of different things. And when he came to us in Moorish Science Temple number 54, his idea was, well, they all Moors and it's all the same thing. And he used to argue with me about it. And I told him, I said, brother, I hear what you're saying. I love you and you can be a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America. But in order for me to recommend you as a sheik, it's got to be about this. It's got to be about this. All those other things, you can continue on and do that. But in order for me, as the Grand Sheik of Moorish Science Temple number 54, to recommend you, because the brother wanted to be a Sheik. Let me tell you something. I've never met anybody that did not have the desire to be a Sheik and an adept like Brother Q Evans here. He was born for that. And if you don't think so, then you must not have been listening to him. Because he told you he was born for it. He told you he was born for it. You see? And after going back and forth and him seeing certain things and seeing the science that Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought, and him checking out all the different things, all the organizations he's been around and been involved in, after a while, it was like you could see the light bulb went off in his head. And he said, you know, he said, you're right. But before that, I remember back and forth conversations because I used to drive him home after every meeting. I said, you know, I love that brother. I ain't never recommended him to be no sheep. I'm going to tell you, Moorish. I'm going to tell you. But Brother Q Evans Eel, he showed me something that I had never seen before. See, I always knew it wasn't about me. That wasn't the thing. But what he showed me, and I'm going to read one verse. This is the verse in the Quran. It's not even the chapter that I'm going to read from. But this is the verse in the Quran that I want all of you to listen to. Because Brother Q Evans Eel was a living example of this verse in the Quran. I like to read from, it's chapter number 41. Wait a minute. Yep. Found on page number 50, chapter 41. Holy instructions from the prophet in constancy. And more, I'm reading from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Circle 7, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guidance of his father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life, which is Father God Allah. I'm going to read from a verse on page number 51. This Brother Q Evans here, verse number 8. The inconstant feeleth that he changeth, but he knoweth not why. He seeth that he escapeth from himself, but he perceiveth not how. And this is the part here. Be thou incapable of change in that which is right, and men will rely upon thee. Let me tell you something. I don't care what was happening. I knew that if I made it to the temple, I was going to see Brother Q Evans here. Mm-hmm. We all go through things in life. And I look at this and I say to myself, well, you know, it's just the last part that really, really stands out to me about Brother Evans here. But Brother Evans here was like 15 years older than me. You know what I'm saying? And when he tells you about certain things that he did during his life when he was younger, you can see the beginning parts of this verse. Mm-hmm. See, I didn't know him back then. Mm-hmm. But if I paid attention to what he was saying, the inconstant feeleth that he changeth, but he knoweth not why. The brother was going to go here and said, no, I don't know how. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go this way. Why did you do that? I don't know. I just knew that I couldn't be here. I knew I had to go that way. You see what I'm saying? He seeth he escapeth from himself, but he perceiveth not how. No matter what the faults and failings, that we all have, and Brother Q. Evans Eo had faults and he had failings. That's between him, Allah, and the Prophet and the Royal Council. That's not for me to judge. But I tell you one thing, he never changed in that which is right. That is the lesson that we all have to learn from his example. You know, sometimes we just don't feel like it. Yeah, but you know what it is that you're supposed to be doing. You know where you're supposed to be. You know what you're supposed to do. I don't care what it was. Brother Evans would show up during a hurricane to the temple because he didn't know that the meeting was postponed. Because there was no need for him to check. Because he knew what he had to do and where he had to be. So he was there. Oh, man, I didn't know. You know me. I was like, yeah, I know you more. You got to check, more. You got to check. And we're here all the time, but certain times if something occurs where we have to postpone the meeting, you know, sometimes, you know, we rent the space and, you know, sometimes things is we're not able to. Brother Evans it didn't matter. Sister S. Evans let me tell you something. Your father loved you. Sister Simone, your grandfather, he loved you. I've never seen a situation where no matter anything that you went through or that you were going through, whatever it was that you were wrestling with, he was wrestling with it. Whether he let you know or he didn't let you know, he was wrestling with it. And sometimes it's hard to come to terms when you don't have the ability to grab something and make it do what you want it to do. And I seen the brother go through that. And you know what the brother's final dealing with it was? I'm gonna leave that with Allah and the Prophet. Prophet ain't gonna let that happen to him. That's maturity. That's something that takes a lifetime for you to achieve. Because we want to hold on to our children. We want them to progress and we want everything for them. But you know, you got to let them live and make great strides and great decisions and make bad decisions. And that's hard for a parent. But Brother Q, he found a way to anything that he was going through, be able to find the answer in the Quran. Praise Allah. More as I'm going to read from page number 44. The Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter number 36. Holy Instructions from the Prophet, know thyself. Weak and ignorant as thou art, O man, humble as thou oughtest to be, O child of the dust. Wouldst thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Wouldst thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Contemplate thine frame. Fearfully and wonderfully art thou made. Praise therefore thy Creator with awe, and rejoice before him with reverence. Wherefore of all creatures art thou only erect, but that thou shouldest behold his works. Wherefore art thou to behold, but that thou mayest admire them? Wherefore to admire, but that thou mayest adore there in thy Creator? Wherefore is consciousness reposed on thee alone, and whence is it derived to thee? It is not in flesh to think. It is not in bones to reason. The lion knoweth not that worms shall eat him. The ox perceiveth not that he is fed for slaughter. Something is added to thee unlike to what thou seest. Something informs thy clay. Higher than all is the object of thy senses. Behold, what is it? The body remaineth perfect after it is fled. Therefore, It is no part of it. It is immaterial. Therefore, it is eternal. It is free to act. Therefore, it is accountable for its actions. Knoweth the ash the use of food, because his teeth mow down the herbage? Or standeth the crocodile erect, although his backbone is as straight as thine? Allah formed thee as he formed these. After them all wert thou created. Superiority and command were given thee over all, and of his own breath did he communicate to thee the principle of knowledge. Know thyself in the pride of his creation, the line uniting divinity and matter. Behold a part of Allah himself within thee. Remember thine own dignity, nor dare descend to evil or to meanness. Who planted terror in the tail of the serpent? Who clothed the neck of the horse with thunder? Even he who hath instructed thee to crush the one under thy foot and to tame the other to thy purpose. You know, this chapter reminds me of the brother, because where it says, Allah formed thee as he formed these. After them all wert thou created. Superiority and command were given to thee over all, and of his own breath did he communicate to thee the principle of knowledge. Let me tell you something. Wherever he went, whatever he had to go through, and whoever he had to deal with, you know what got Brother Q through a lot of things? He understood, since that he was a child of Allah and he was with the prophet, he had superiority and command. All you have to do is hear his voice. He had a commanding voice and a commanding presence. He had much knowledge. But what he didn't know, his superiority and command pushed him through. It made people acknowledge who he was. It made people say, I don't know, but I don't think I'm gonna mess around with this one. He's so confident in what he's saying, I don't want to be on the wrong side of it. So let me just do what he's talking about, because I don't want to be in no trouble with who he's hooked up with. And that's who Brother Evansville is. You see? So if you got to deal with some things, whether it's dealing with your Bay or Eel on your name, certain things with administration of government, when you go knowing that superiority and command is given to thee, and you understand, as our Grand Sheik used to say, and I used to teach the brother Q Evansville, and I hear him say, you know more, that's right. We have dominant nationality and superior citizenship. That means that you are entitled to anything and everything that any other citizen is entitled to, and more. And more. So there should be no one to deny you anything. And Brother Evansville was the type of brother who knew that. He may not have known all the intricacies of what's going on, but look, I'm a Moor. So you can't deny me, because I'm a Moorish American. Dad, I hear what you're saying, you're talking. But you better go speak to your supervisor, your boss, or whoever you need to speak to. You talking about a man that served in the Marines and didn't take no mess from them. That's Brother Q Evansville right there. You know more. So let us remember that. Let us know that everything that we need to succeed in life, we already have in us. And learn to be dutiful. Learn to take care of yourself. Learn to take care of your family. Uphold your obligations to Allah, to the Prophet, and to the temple. Ain't nobody forced you in here. Ain't nobody forced you to take no position. But if you take a position, do your duty. Remember thine own dignity. Dignity comes from the Latin word dignitas. Dignus. It means to be worthy. to be worthy of something. And you are worthy because Allah communicated with his own breath to you the principle of knowledge. Now, we always talk about the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But in this Quran, the Prophet also speaks about the principle of knowledge. And that's Brother Q. Evans here. He strove to gain that knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of self. Knowledge of Allah. And knowledge of the Prophet. So I'd like to thank you all for being here. This is a glorious and joyful day. This is not a day of sorrow. You know why people think that it's a sorrowful day when they lose somebody? Because they think the person is lost. But he's not lost. Brother Q may be going into the realms of souls unmanifest and sitting with the patriarchs of olden times. You know, he's like, man, yeah, now I can get that lesson out. Now I can get that knowledge I was waiting on. Man, if you'd let me know that I had to let go of that one to get this lesson, man, I'd have let go of that one a long time ago. I've been trying to figure, hey, look, let me go get this knowledge. Why? So that I can pass it on to you. You're going to find out in certain times that you're going to run up into certain situations and don't know what to do. And you're going to hear your Father speak to you. You're going to hear him say, hey, baby girl, no, go this way. Don't worry about it. Look in the corner. He may even tell you what chapter to read. Because he's still with you. See, this right here is just a vehicle, like the Assistant Grand Sheik, like the Grand Company said, just a vehicle. Sometimes we got to lay that aside to continue on to higher lessons. And the thing about leaving is for what? To sail on smoother seas. You couldn't keep Brother Evansville still for nothing. But his body was trying to hinder him. You know what I'm saying? His body got to the point that it was trying to hinder him from moving. So he said, all right, I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to keep it moving. And sailing on smoother seas. You think he was the man driving that Chrysler 300? That ain't nothing. He's moving on smoother seas now. That ain't nothing to what he's moving on with now. And that's Brother Q Evans here, because he's a master driver as well. He had to be moving. It don't matter where it was, how far it was, Brother Q, that knowledge, all right. Well, Grand Sheik, I'm gonna be here this Friday because I got to go get that knowledge. I'll be back though, because I'm bringing it back. All right, brother. All right, Brother Secretary. That's Brother Q Evans here. So rejoice. Be glad. The brother, he's just stepped behind the veil. That's all. He just stepped behind the veil. We just have to get used to not physically seeing him. That's all. It ain't like he's not there. He's still there. He's still connected. Every time you close your eyes sometimes it's hard to sleep because you keep seeing him. That's because he's still here. That's all it is. He ain't crazy. You want something to say to him? Talk to him. That's all. This illusionary thing, he's just step beyond. That's all. But he's still doing his work. And it's a reminder to us, the way he lived, that we have to be obligated to do our work. So thank you, Brother Chairman, for calling. Thank all the Moors, friends, the family, and the guests that came here today. I know it's a few because of the conditions, and the sister wanted it to be small, and let us, give him honor, give him his last meeting, and then we'll move on. So with that, Moors, praise Allah. Peace.
Peace. Joshua fought the battle of Jericho.
It's almost.
It's awesome.
I'd like to thank our Grand Sheik, Brother D. Clark Eel, from reading. He made a comment. I'm going to get it right here. He made his first comment was from the chapter number 41. Divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter number 41. Holy instructions from the Prophet in constancy. And he gave instruction from verse number 8. And then, secondly, he turned to page number 44, Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter number 36, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Know Thyself. And I'd like to thank the Grand Sheik for his thoughts and his comments. I have no further comments, Moors. At this time, I'm going to call up the Grand Governor of the State of New York, Brother C. Hurt Bay, and ask him, could he please read the divine warning? Peace.
Islam Moors. Here's the warning. Friday, January 15th, 1929, Prophet warns all Muslims, governors order to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, and freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card button, cease wearing their turban affairs, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Nabi Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sins by order of prophet Nabi Ali. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you, Brother Grand Governor. At this time, this concludes our meeting for this evening. Before I ask the Grand Sheik a question, or before I ask the Grand Governor a question, I want to ask, is there anything that the family would like to say? Any comments, anything you would like to speak about, or anything you'd like to say? Okay. All right, at this time, I'm gonna ask the Grand Sheik. Do you have any closing comments, any thoughts in regards to our event here this evening?
Islam.
Islam.
No, I don't really have any clothes. I just wanted to thank all of the Moors that contributed to assist the Evans Eel family with the arrangements for his bodily remains and everything that needed to be done. I wanted to thank everyone, finance that were collected, and all the finance that's remaining is going to go to the family. So more, we will be sending out thank yous to you all. We'd like to thank everyone for rising to the occasion and assisting Moorish Science Temple number 54 with taking care of Brother Evans Eel and his family. Peace.
Peace. Brother, Assistant Grand Sheik Grand Governor, do you have any closing thoughts on anything that transpired here this evening? All right, Moons. Moors, we're gonna come to order and we're